The basic idea of this video is that I have been peer pressured to read at least 12 books next year. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking you through my 12 in 24. These are 12 books that I asked some of my friends to recommend to me for my reading journey in 2024. And some of these are genuinely books that I had never experienced before. I'd never heard of them. They hadn't even crossed my radar. So I feel like this is really going to open a couple of doors for me. It's going to open into new reading experiences, perhaps a new genre or a new author that I'm going to completely fall in love with. First up is Will They or Won't They by Ava Wilder by Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading. And actually, I requested a copy of this from my library a couple of weeks ago and it actually just came in. So this might even be the first one off the list that I'm going to read. I think I wanted to read that at some point during the Get Her To readathon, but I didn't get around to it. I think the room changed before I had gotten a point to it. I am not entirely sure what it's about, but I know that it is a romance because Brittany's been really going through her romance era this year. So let's see if our tastes are going to match up with this one. Next, Daniela from Only for a Page told me to read 7 Days in June. I think I'm going to actually leave this one to June for a couple of reasons. One, it is set in June. Second, June is actually in the title. And third, my birthday is in June. So I feel like if I can tie all of those in together, we'll probably make it work. I understand that this is a second chance romance between two authors who come back together about 10 years after they had previously split up, and they have to work on a project together or they are researching a book together and then they start to fall for each other all over again. Second chance romances don't generally work for me. I'm not a huge second chance romance lover, but I'm willing to give this one a go. If Daniela's book is perfect for June, then the suggestion from Victoria, from What Victoria Read, is perfect for October. This is A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. And actually, I've heard a couple of good things about this one. Somebody in my In Real Life book club has read this in October, November, I think she read it, and she completely fell in love with it. I can understand from the title that this is about a witch and a demon who have to fake date each other. And I think as well that it is the first of a series or potentially a trilogy. And I am so excited to read something that is a little bit fantastical and features a couple of mythical creatures, but is still very much in my roadhouse. Next, we're going for a classic. One of my real life friends, Roisin, told me to read Heidi by Joanna Spiri. And I think that this is a very good idea for a couple of reasons. One, I know from personal experience, this is Roisin's favourite book of pretty much all time. I actually asked a couple of years back for my best friends to give me a copy of their favourite book so that I could understand them more, so that I could get to know their personalities a bit more when I think it was my birthday or I think it was Christmas, one of those times. And Roisin gave me a copy of Heidi. I think that is back in my parents' house in Ireland, so I will go and have a look, but just in case, I also have got a copy of it on my Kindle. A second reason that I think this might be a good idea is that I live in quite close proximity to Switzerland, a little bit closer than I did back in Ireland. And this book is set in the Swiss Alps. It is about Heidi, who goes to live with her grandfather after her parents pass away, and he owns a goat farm or a dairy farm of some description, and she helps him out on the farm, and then they get a bit closer together. It's one of the classics that I've meant to read with such a long time, but I've just never put my hand on. Pucks and Paperbacks told me to read Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez. I have heard a couple of things about Sophie Gonzalez's writing. I know that she has got a couple of other books out. I think there's one that's about like movies or rom-coms. I think there's one called We Are Never Getting Back Together. I think there's one that's kind of like a Grease retelling. I have requested a couple of Sophie Gonzalez's books on NetGalley, so they do sound like something that would statistically be my kind of thing, but I've never actually gotten around to reading one of them. So let's see if I can make this happen in 2024. Next up, my friend Ross told me to read How to Build a Boat by Elaine Feeney. I trust Ross with recommendations for Irish authors, for LGBT authors, for really hard-hitting stories. I would trust him with my life for those kind of stories. So I know I'll be in really good hands here. And I know that this is set in Ireland. I know that it is an Irish author, so maybe that might be the perfect book for me to read in March. In March, I like to focus my reading a lot on Irish authors and Irish stories. So maybe this is the perfect one to go for there. Next, Michelle from Michelle's Library told me to read Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I have not heard a lot about this, but I do know that this is one of Michelle's up there books of 2023. She hasn't told me a whole lot about it, so I feel like this is one that I should maybe go in blind. Maybe this would be a good February pick because it seems to be a romance book. Maybe this would be a February pick if we decide to do another episode of Rom-Comathon. I can try and fit it in there. Let's see how we get on. Miss JT Ratty told me to read Strong Female Character by Fern Brady, and I am genuinely so glad that this was one of the recommendations. I fell in love with Fern Brady a couple of years ago, and then when I saw her on season 14 of Taskmaster, it just cemented that love for me. Fern is Scottish, she is a comedian, and she was also diagnosed with autism as an adult. And I believe that a lot of this memoir is going through what that was like for her and how it explained so much that had happened in her childhood and some of the social cues that she had missed out or some of the things that she had said that weren't as received as she wanted them to be, and how that all would have made much more sense had she known as a child that she was autistic. Another book that I will be going into completely blind, so much so that I don't even know the author, is Lovely War, which was recommended to me by my friend Lily from Literary Lily. I feel like Lily knows my reading tastes quite a lot. I feel like she knows the books that are going to work for me, the books that probably wouldn't work for me as well, so I really do trust this recommendation. Again, not entirely sure what this is about. From the title, I can kind of picture this to be somewhat of a thriller or a historical fiction. But who knows, I might go into this and it could just be about a battle between two married people who just can't see eye to eye on anything. Let's see how wrong I was when we get to the end of the year. One that definitely does sound like a thriller is Then She Was Gone. This was recommended to me by Travel Teach Reads, and this does sound like a thriller, and I think I'm going to go into it blind again. I'm not entirely sure what it's about. I have not heard a lot about this. I don't even think I've seen people talking about this one. But I read quite a lot of thrillers. I know I am more well known for being a romance reader, but I do dip my toes into the world of thrillers sometimes, so I think this one sounds like it could be up my road. Finally, Brie from Four Paws in a Book told me to read A Girl Like Her by Talia Hibbert. Brie and I have bonded quite a lot over Talia Hibbert's books. We both buddy read The Fake Boyfriend Fiasco back in August, I think it was, and we both absolutely loved it. This was one of Talia's self-published books from her indie publishing house, and we had talked about other books that came from that area. Brie had asked me if I had read the Ravenswood trilogy, to which I said, no, I haven't yet. So when she saw me putting this call out on Instagram, she told me instantly, you have got to start reading A Girl Like Her. So you've got to start the trilogy here and then go straight on with the rest of them. So not only has she given me one book that I have to read, I think she's accidentally given me 3. Those are 12 books that 12 of my friends have told me to read across 2024. Have you read any of these? Which one should I start out with in January? Or what other months do you think any of these would fit into? If you would love to leave me a comment but you can't think of anything that you would like to say, then just leave me the friends hugging emoji. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.